Okay, cool. Salutations to the Prime 747 24/7 361 degrees. I want to give a peace and shout out to the family. I got an honored guest, brother Neutral, Solar Prime 217, brother Eddie Revere in the building.
Blessed
Peace,
to be
bro.
here, for sure.
So, I know it's kind of unorthodox, kind of late night, but we still on time. It's 12:11. It's 12:11. Let me um let me make sure everything is going right. The stream is going right to be decent, and we're gonna proceed. Yeah. So so it's a couple of things I wanted to share with the family tonight. Go. Just give me about a couple more seconds, and then I'll be ready to go. Yeah. So feel like I'm kind of in the wind tunnel a little bit, but it's all good. Can you say something, bro? Like check on you. Let me
Oh, mic check, mic check. You can hear me or no?
make sure your vocals are good. Just give me about a couple more seconds, and I'll be ready to go.
Mic check, mic check. No, my mic is on.
See, you like check sounds real good.
Yeah, that's because.
Yeah, it's good. It's because you're using that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what we're gonna do is we'll pass it back and forth. We'll pass it back and forth. When it's time for you to read,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pass you that mic, and
Okay,
what
you
I'm
want
gonna
it?
do, is we'll cut down this one, and then we're gonna go from there. All right. So I think it's cool. All right. So I think it's about cool. It's about ready. Everything is about cool. So I want to say shout out to the family. Thank you for your presence. Everybody that's coming here on a late night. The plan tonight was to do a little bit of readings, and we were going to do readings from the 141. We were going to do it from the Magic Stones of the Codex. I also will have, um, I will have, I will have a version of this. I will have a version of this that I can put on the screen, and that'll be cool. We can go from there. So shout out to everybody coming on a late night. So let me formally introduce myself for everybody that's coming in. All right. I am Solar Prime Supreme 131 Lazarus Lamel of the Messiah Code movement. What is a Messiah? A Messiah is a leader or savior of a particular group or a cause. All right. Also, a Messiah is one who is preparated for war. So that's something I wanted to share with you. Some people wonder, well, what is the war that they talking about? What war are you talking about? The war that we're talking about, we're giving reference to is the war within. All right. So with that, you need 7 weapons in order to deal with the battle that's ahead. And those seven weapons are the rod, the staff, the arrow, the bow, the sword, and the laser. And each one of those have a symbolic meaning to take you to a next level on your journey. All right. So what I share with the family is something called the magic stones of the Codex. All right. So the magic stones of the Codex, they consist of 41 different stones. And each one of the stones have a significant power, have a significant purpose on what we're here to learn. All right. So brother Eddie is going to take it from here and he's going to read just the introduction to the stones and the introduction to the stones, and then we'll just like we'll build off of that. We'll build off the vibe. We'll build off the energy and see what it does. You put that on your shoulder there. So when you see it's a introduction.
Yeah, see the on page 5, well, Codex 5.
Yes, sir. I mean I don't have it.
So the Codex instructions on the 41 stone system initiates guidance and sacred pattern reading. Before you read these stones, know this: they are not just tools; they are voices. They are teachers. They are a test. This is not a game of the fortune. This is a conversation with your own inner temple. The magic stones are alive with codes, messages, and archetypes drawn for the depths of the spiritual time. There are 41 stones in the Codex. Each one holds a frequency. Each one carries a name. Each one is a mirror. Together, they form a complete system of uh, divination and a transformation, a map for the initiate to return to self, and well, initiate to return to self. You are not merely reading symbols. You are activating timelines. You are speaking to the deeper language of your own destiny. This book draws direct from the 141, no, yeah, 141 Codex, reference in the 141, the Introduction to Magic and Divination. There is written that true guidance comes not from the outside, but from the interface between messages and soul. The stones work through that interface. They move like ancestors whispering in symbols. They speak the language of alignment. In using these stones, remember the sacred truth. All the power comes from the balance between will and surrender. Before reading, center yourself, cleanse the space, silence your outer voice so your inner ear can hear. Touch the stones with intention. This will not respond to chaos. They move only in order and awareness. You may pull a single stone when seeking a singular message: the stone of the day, the nature of the hour, the question of now. You may also use the three stone spread, a sacred trade aligned with the past, present, and future. In the first possession, the past speaks, not as memory, but as a pattern. The lesson is revealed. In the second position, the present reveals itself, not as a condition, but as a posture. It tells you how you are standing, posture then. In the third position, the future arrives, not as a prediction, but as a potential. The path becomes clear. Each stone has a direct tone, and if applicable, a reversed form. Reversals are not punishments. They are permissions to the correct. The reverse stone is not less sacred. It is sharper. It is the teacher that arrives when the student is quiet enough to listen. Use your body as a part of the reading. Breathe with the full, no, breathe with the pull. Feel the energy in your hands. This system may be used daily, monthly, or ritually. At the threshold of life, birth, death, initiations, fast, and reset. These stones may also be laid in a circle of 4 or 7 to mirror the seasons of the planet for advanced readings. Some stones align to planets, runes, numbers, and scriptures. These references are included for a deeper layering. Let your spirit be the final interpreter. What matters is not the literal, what matters is the activation. You are not here to become a reader, you are here to become read by the stones. This codex is not about answers, it's about alignment and sometimes means facing things you didn't want to name. Begin every session with the phrase, I approach this gate with humility, intention, and clarity. Let the truth rise through symbol. And every session with the phrase, I have heard, I will walk with what was shown, I will honor what was hidden. Never use these stones to prove to control or to manipulate. That is not their path, and they will close if dishonored. Use these stones to cleanse, to uncover, to empower, to rebuild, to navigate the map of your becoming. You are not holding a system. You are holding a sacred engine of evolution. Respect it, and it will open everything. Am I this part? Okay. I was gonna say because this part is more like
Oh, let me see. Let me break down that part.
yeah, go ahead.
So each one of the stones, this right here, explains the 41 different stones. All right, and each one of them have a certain purpose. You know what I mean? Like for instance, we picked earlier. It's called Shada Kuf, which is the third stone. It represents gift, divine partnership, and its planet is Venus, and it has a ruin that's attached to it called Gibo. All right. So and that's just a short rendition of it. So just a small explanation of the stones. So one thing about the stones is they're made from the earth. Okay, they come from something that you mold with your hands. Okay, these stones. If anything, I can show you. Even though they're beautiful and they're painted, they look purple. These stones actually come from the earth because it's clay for the people. And what's so important about this clay is that it inherits the spirit of the earth. So when you it's a difference of pulling something from the earth and pulling something from the supermarket or pulling something from the store. You pull something from the earth, clay, and then you mold it and create something, you inherit the spirit from which the earth that you got it from. All right. Not only that, is that each one of these on the sacred on the sacred stones, which are painted purple, and you know why they're painted purple. You know, purple is the sacred color that taps into the crown chakra seat. Even though I don't like to call it a chakra, it's really a node. And a node is something where a network where like resources are exchanged. You need many nodes to create a network. All right. But the color purple essentially is the color of healing. It's the color of it's really of mental healing because green is another color of healing. But this color purple is essential a royal color of healing that brings in the identity frequency. So you tap into the shade of color of the shade of purple. It also brings in the ingenuity of what it manifests here is on the planet Earth. All right. Far as like people depict it as a royal color or as a color of stature, but it's also a color that the Phoenicians used to use, you know, in ancient times. They called them the Phoenicians. They were the ancient ones that had a writing system. Um, and they were also fishermen, they were traders, but they dealt with the color purple. That was something that was significant of their people. And you know, not all cultures saw this color, and not everybody seen this color. And that's what's so important when you realize what this represents. Okay. And then another thing, it represents the purple pill. Remember, we took the purple pill because the purple pill or the purple pillar You have two pills, which is the red pill and the blue pill. Both of those are in the matrix. That's what literally led us in. Shout out to Sosa. I'm broadcasting live right now. Um, yeah, but we didn't take the red pill. We took the purple pill. All right, and the frequency of that purple pill enabled us to dial into the frequency of the ancestors. I want to give a assalamu alaikum to Sister Lorraine Muhammad. Oh, okay. All right. All right. Yes, sir. Now you good. You good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everybody. Um. Yeah. So the stones. What's so important about the stones is that they. It's a way to connect up with the ancestors. You know, I gave people a build the other day when I was on here. I shared some information that was very relevant, and the information I shared was from the mainframe. I was talking about how I started discussing about the planet Saturn, and I was talking about how how they trapped us by the planet Saturn, and the reason why they utilized the Matrix phone in the movie representing your calling, representing your purpose, but it was a symbolic thing to represent Saturn. If you notice, there is no zero on the dial. The reason why there's no zero on the dial is because Saturn is the zero. Saturn takes the place of zero. And then I broke it down to y'all. I said the only way that you can dial up to Saturn is that you have to know the secret number, which balances the square of Saturn. And all of this is very significant. You might say, well, how is this significant? Well, if you were in your meditation and you were going up degrees of consciousness, this is a riddle of sort to unlock something within that degree of consciousness. And order to take yourself to the next level, you must you must really solar stand the principle of what I'm sharing with you here with this number system. All right, this is a code that locked us in. And I said, in order to get out of the matrix, it's two things. First, you have to call the operator, and then the operator calls you. The operator tells you where's the landline. For all the people coming in, I'm breaking down the matrix, and I'm breaking down the idea that they had us trapped in a real matrix. All right, a real matrix of sort. And now watch this. The matrix was the planet Saturn. They had us trapped within the planet Saturn, which was the sixth planet. See, the number six is very important because six is a perfect number. It's only two numbers between 1 and 100 that are perfect numbers. And those two numbers are only 6 and 28. And you might say, how is that? It's very simple because if you take 1, 2, 3, which are consecutive numbers, you can take all of those numbers and make six when you multiply them. Look, one times two is two, two times three, six. And then you can take six and divide it by itself. So that's what makes it a perfect number. You cannot do that with another number except for 28, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why do you think seven is so important? Because um if you count up to seven, if you use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it adds up to 28, which is another perfect number. That's the only reason why they say seven is a perfect number. Seven is really not a perfect number. It's the fact that if you add the numbers up to seven, they add to a perfect number, which is 28. All right. And it's the same thing for 496. If you count all the numbers up from 1 to 31, that's why 31 is so important. That's the next perfect number you get. The next perfect number you get is 496. All right. Shout out to Sister LaUnc Messiah Code All Star. Thank you for watching across the nation, across the universe. So the next perfect number you get is 496. You hear that? The next number you get, it was 628, and it is only one perfect number that comes after 6 and 28, and that's 496. And the only way you can get 496 is adding all the numbers up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to 31. How unbelievable! How unbelievable is that? That's why I said, when I tell you about these things, they're for a reason. When they built things on these principles, they built them on a structure to lock you in. That's the reason why they utilize the number six. And then they utilize the number nine for all you fancy people to lock you in as well. And both of them look, both of the numbers, if you pay attention to the number six or nine, we're going to do a 69 on this. If you look at 69, both of them look like locks. Yo, shalom. If you look at 69, if you look at 69, 69 is, yo, it looks like locks. 6 and 9. They look like locks. They the only numbers that really essentially look like you locking somebody in something. It's just something you gotta pay attention to. It just it's really just to understand what's going on. It's really deep. But yeah, I wanted to share that with you. And then that's why you go to nine. Nine locks you in because any number times it nine is going to equal nine, no matter what. So that's a lock in a chain, just like the loop. All right. But six was a lock in a chain as well because the six represented the face of the cube. If you notice the face of the cube, right? Just breaking it down, like if you notice the face of the cube, the face of the cube, it don't let it trick you. It only has six sides to it. It only has six sides that are attached to this cube. It has 12 bars. You know what those 12 bars are? Those 12 bars are the 12 bars of daylight and the 12 bars of shadow hour. Those are the 12 bars or the 12 zodiac signs, the 12 disciples, and whatever you want to go. That's what the 12 bar. Okay, and this is for anybody that's seeing in higher dimensions. When Ezekiel talk about he saw a wheel within a wheel, he's talking about him seeing in higher dimensions and higher planes. But and then you got vertices eight vertices. That means eight angles to this cube. If you have eight angles to this cube, you know what that means. You remember that the elders told us that angles are angels. So if you look at the far as the cube, yes, it creates the tetrahedron. The edge or the corner of the cube creates the tetrahedron. That's when you go to the angle or you go to the angels. All of this is symbolic. That's why I said all the codes are cracked. We have cracked the code here with the messiahs. So when you go to the corner, you create a prism. Now, what you know is notice is a prism. What do they use a prism for? They utilize the prism to shine light through it. And that same light became a blinding light for you. It became a light that take us off the path instead of a light of guidance. All right. And that also, that light, what you got to realize is they utilize the light against us, because each one of us, when it when the light, or when regular energy or whatever you want to call it, goes through that prism, it shines and it creates seven different colors. Those seven different colors can cancel each other out if you push them into each other. If you fuse them into each other, they will cancel each other out. So thus they will have no light of their own. And that's what exactly happened when they shine the light on us. They made us literally fuse each other out in some sort of way, so we didn't see the divine light in each one of us. But we move out of that and we go into the prism. And then the prism brought us to I am. And people say, well, what is I am? See, I am actually is AM. Like we're up in the AM hours right now. It's really deep. It's really more deep than what I'm telling you. When you make an affirmation and you say I am, you're talking about AM. You're talking about I affirm, but you're also talking about amplitude modulation. Amplitude modulation is different than FM, which is frequency modulation. So when you're utilizing your amplitude modulation, you're literally channeling, shouting at the top of your lungs, or shouting with your heart frequency to get in touch with the universe. But you're saying I am, which is AM, which becomes an amplitude modulation. All right. And then they bring you to the AM, because the AM is to let you know that you can, with your amplitude modulation, you're able to tap into the ionosphere. The ionosphere can bounce and relay signals from past, present, and future. All right. Why you say that? Because some of the signals that they sent up in the ionosphere, when they became their own AM radio, when they sent those signals out in the ionosphere, they are still there in the ionosphere. All right, I'm just saying, like, and I'm breaking all of this stuff down from the cube. For anybody that's coming in, I'm gonna introduce myself to you, especially if you're new. I'm Solar Prime Supreme 131, Lazarus Lamel of the Messiah Code movement. And what I'm sharing with you today is about the cube. It's about escaping the cube. Another name for the cube is they called it the matrix. They called it the dunya in Islam, all right? Which is literally a trap or a prison for your mind. Shout out to you, Tonita. Oh, listen, Tonita, I was trying to get in contact with you. I got a certificate for you. I got to send off to you. Where is this at? Thank you. You came on the broadcast. Uh, I have a certificate for you. My fault, because I know people be busy. Look, my word, Tonita. Look, I got an envelope with your name on it. I got an envelope with your name on it. Please inbox me after the broadcast. Peace and love. Yeah. I got an envelope. You see, I wasn't. I just got to put your address on it. Just inbox me so I can send you your certificate. Your certificate for your participation in the 90-day water fast and cleansing. Now for real, sis. I want to say thank you for your participation. Here's your certificate. See? It's already been signed and everything. Yep. Just so you can put it on your wall of accomplishments. You know, I really, I'm proud of you. You know, don't worry about it. We'll come back around. I'm here with you. I'm here with you on the journey. All right, we all here, man. I want to say I love you though. I really appreciate you. your participation, and you just being a good person for the community. Yeah, yeah. So inbox me, hit me up with your address so I can send this to you, Queen. You deserve it. You deserve it. If you did 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you deserve it. I'm gonna say this because it's about it's about you. It's not about anybody else. It's about you becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let me say a couple other things. I don't want to keep everybody too late because I want to get off in a second. But the cube, what I was talking about is breaking out of this matrix. Breaking out of the matrix is the cube that had us trapped. They trapped us. Look, I said we're in a new age of what they call information. All right, the new age. So we're breaking out of this box that they put us in. The box consisted of 12 bars. Those 12 bars are symbolic of the 12 zodiac signs that entrapped us. All right. The vertices, the vertices, you said what was the number was what was the number in the square box? So when you think about the square box, oh this, you talking about this right here? This is talking about this was a riddle I gave everybody. It's talking about the magic square of Saturn. This what kept us in the matrix. It was Saturn. Saturn was the culprit. Saturn was the I would say the person that kept us in jail. They were the guards that kept us in jail. And they utilized Saturn because hear me out. You know how in the matrix you can't get out of the matrix unless you are called. That's the same thing in the church when they say many few are they say many are called but few are chosen. It's the same thing in the church when they say that. They talk about freeing you from the matrix, but once you're called, you got to figure out what you do with your purpose. Or once you get out of the matrix, you got to figure out what you do. So, yeah, that's what this box was symbolic of. And then the box, they had 12 bars. If you ever notice, shout out to Oracle Mother, Yanis Lamel in the building. If you notice the bars of the box is 12 bars that create a box. That those 12 lines are the 12 zodiac signs, but they're also connected to our perception. You good? It's also connected to our perception of how we perceive reality. You get what I'm saying? Because they give us 12 hours in a day and 12 hours in a night. And I broke that down with the two congruent angles of 2020 vision. And I was saying that you got on the base of that, which is 24 hours. If you split the 24 in half, you get 12. And 12, you needed to break the the 144 locks, and 144 locks was strictly for 44.1 hertz, which is the sample rate of how humans hear music or how we're able to hear sound. It goes at 44.1 hertz. All right. And then what's so deep is it's a sound modulation that actually breaks the cube when you move to the prism of the cube. It is actually a, or should I say, not a sound modulation, it's an amplitude modulation because what you're utilizing is the affirmations. When you do the affirmations, am, am actually represents an amplitude modulation. That represents when you're shouting into the ionosphere to bounce and relay signals off the ionosphere to what you consider to be the ancient ones, all right, or the ones in the future, because that signal is quantum, it's in the ever present, all right. So the eight angles on this actually represented the angels, and those angels spoke to you through light. And that's why through the prism, if you notice, through the prism, they're able to shine energy through a prism and it becomes the seven colors of the rainbow. We are the seven colors of the rainbow collectively, how we vibrate, because each one of us vibrate in a certain tone or octave that denotes a certain color as well. And that's how you know when certain things are off, and then your vibration comes right, and then the colors are able to mesh with each other or blend. That's the same thing for your vibrations. All right. So they shine the light to us. It was a guiding light. But what happened was the enemy reflected that light and took that light and made it fuse into each other. Like kind of like how they that's how you know light operates as a wave. It can operate in two natures, a wave or a particle. The same thing as you operate in a wave or a particle. This is the same principle as your mind. It operates in a wave or a particle. So when the light operated in a wave, like a frequency that you was able to adopt, because the wave frequency is different than a particle. You're able to pick up the wave frequency like you catching a wave, like you searching a wave. All right. It's the same thing. So you're able to catch that wave frequency of light. But what they did was reflected that and reflected all the lights into each other to fuse them out and made it confusion. It made it almost like a blur. All right. So that's why you have to close your eyes and see with something else. All right. Which is feeling. And not only that, that feeling generates a sound. And that sound thus generates a signal, a color that can be relayed off the ionosphere, not only now, but forevermore. Somebody else can pick up that signal in the future. All right. Now you know it affects the AM radio, like the electrons in the atmosphere affect the radio of the AM radio. You know when there's a storm out, you hear static in the AM radio. That's the same thing. If you start chanting, if you start making noise like that in a certain way and conducting energy, you're able to cause static in that AM radio because you're creating an amplitude modulation just from what you are generating, the force that you are generating. And then what is the difference between you and the radio? It's no real difference. It's the way the components are assembled. Because if I say, well, what's the difference between you and a rat or a chimpanzee? You're going to say, well, it's the way the genes are assembled. It's the same thing. You are the components of a radio tapping into a greater station. All right. So I'm gonna leave y'all at that. I'm gonna leave y'all at that. And I want to say thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna say thank you. Hopefully y'all can take this information that I gave you and really what you say, well, what is this, what is the application of it? The basic application of what I gave you is first start with the breathing. You start with the breathing. You start knowing all your colors and how they associate with certain moods. All right, that's the first thing, and then you're able to visualize um, shapes, shapes as ways to communicate with higher beings. Like for instance, you know a dot. It starts off from the dot, and then when the dot draws an angle, the first angle is knowledge. Knowledge is what? A clear and certain perception of information learned by one's ability of looking, listening, and observing. That's knowledge. And then it moves on to the second frequency, which is the self frequency, which is two. All right. And it goes on and on. It starts creating the geometrical shapes like a triangle. A triangle is 3 or 30. All right. And it has a principle of understanding or a principle of birth or a principle of manifestation connected to it. All right. The square, it has a balance associated with it. It also gives you designated correspondence when you're navigating through whatever world, whether it be the spiritual world or the physical world. You can still utilize the square for those same things. All right, so that's why I said you allow the numbers to speak to you in a sense of frequencies, but you would allow the shapes to speak to you in the hidden messages that the ancestors are here to relay on this manifested plane that we call the mainframe consciousness. All right. So that's it. I'm going to leave y'all at that. 747 24/7, 361 degrees. I want to give a shout out to Neutral Prime, Neutral Solar Prime 217. Brother Eddie Rivera in the building. I want to say thank you for your time, for your reading, and we'll be back at you. All right, we'll be back at you.